The old pickup's tank had run dry. Ethan Baker had gotten a few miles further on fumes than he'd expected, but now he was out of luck and out of gas. He knew he'd fucked up bad this time. The autumn chill was already creeping inside the truck. Forgetfulness plus fatigue, he supposed. Now he was stuck out in the middle of nowhere, stranded on a road nearly no one used. He'd always liked this route for its solitude. Should have known it would come back to bite me, he thought. He pulled out his phone and shot off a text. There was a local towing service not far away that had saved his ass more than once before. Only 1 bar of service, he noted. He prayed it would be enough. A dense fog had rolled in during the night while Ethan had been working. He'd been stocking shelves and working the till at the old highway gas station for almost a year now. Its roof was partly a tarp, the bathroom indistinguishable from the 9th circle of hell, but the place was charming, somehow. His new hours took him from sundown till dawn. It was bullshit, but there was no place else to turn. The town the gas station called home was a hunting shop, a motel no one dared enter, and a cemetery overgrown with moss. And that was the only civilization for miles, aside from the handful of empty vacation homes Ethan called neighbors. 10 minutes had come and gone, and his text hadn't sent. Am I gonna have to fucking walk? He didn't think he'd make it that far on foot, not in the cold. And there was something he found strangely imposing about the fog and the barren trees along the road's edge. Autumn was on its way out, the landscape growing harsher. He checked the time. Almost 6. He'd been on the road for an hour before stalling out. There was still a long ways left to go. He'd rather ride home with a stranger than go off on foot. The bluster outside was tossing around a young stand of ash. Ethan took a slow, long breath, but the longer he stared at the wavering trees, the more he felt as though something wasn't quite right. The wind was growing fiercer, yet the fog was still thick enough anyone on the road would need their high beams. Why the hell isn't it lifting? He wondered. Over the next 20 minutes, Ethan texted the towing service 4 more times. Every text failed to send. He tried calling instead, but was greeted only by a sharp, unrelenting static. Back stiff and legs restless, he popped open the driver's side door and stepped outside. He'd been cooped up in the musty truck for too long. The gravel along the shoulder crunched under his sneakers as he wandered over to the muddy ditch beside the road. The wind, fierce as ever, nipped at his ears, but still the fog persisted. Ethan looked around for any sign of color and found none. No green, that was sure enough, and the fallen leaves of autumn were already brown sludge thanks to the rain. Towering over the spot where his truck had stalled, the limbs of an old white birch twisted like ragged bones. He decided he'd walk a ways down the road, see if he could find a nearby house or anything that might be of use to him. He'd driven down this road hundreds of times before, and he was fairly sure there was nothing for miles, but he had to try. He quickly found there was no end to the fog. If anything, it was getting thicker. As he went, the trees grew more numerous, more tightly packed, the road a narrow line of light between 2 walls of shadow. Then he heard tires roaring up the road behind him. A gray SUV, caked with mud and lacking any trace of front bumper, blew past him at breakneck speed. It was out of sight before Ethan could so much as stick up a thumb. Like a bat out of hell, he thought. Way too fast for a road like this one, even if they know it well. He decided it might be a good idea to go check on his truck. During the walk back, his patience dwindled. The cold, damp air was starting to get to him. He was now certain that walking home was not an option. At least the relative warmth of his truck was something to look forward to. His spirits were almost lifting when a helicopter's deep, rhythmic whir came down from above. Through the fog, he couldn't see shit, but he was sure it had to be flying low. Strange to hear it all the way out here. He figured it must be search and rescue. He hated imagining some poor, unprepared hiker getting lost out here, but it did happen every so often. They ought to search for and rescue me at this point. He nearly laughed. It took Ethan longer than it should have to realize his truck was gone. The instant he realized he had gone too far, he turned back, certain he'd just been so distracted he'd somehow walked right past the old pickup. But he was wrong. He found the bony birch again, and there was no truck beneath its branches. All right. What the fuck? Disbelief was the first feeling that came to him. Empty tank of gas, no keys, and now vanished? Once he accepted his situation, disbelief made way for panic. His options were walk home, walk back to town, or stay put and pray. Fingers beginning to numb, he sat down on the gravel along the road's edge. He took stock of everything he had with him: phone, keys, wallet, and that was it. Nothing to fend off the weather, nor help him survive the long walk home. The walk back to town would be shorter, he supposed. Not short enough. He texted the towing service again, along with a couple of co-workers he hadn't talked to in God knew how long. Then he noticed that one bar of service was gone. The next number he dialed was 911. Tragically, he wasn't able to will better cell service into existence. He took a slow, long breath. His phone was on 13% battery. Cold must have drained it. His charger had been inside the truck. Ethan's teeth chattered. Rarely had he been more angry with himself. Such a simple, stupid mistake. He wished he was home, lying on the couch, with some hot food and a fully charged phone. His ears perked up at the sound of tires screeching. He got up and squinted down the road. Headlights were slicing through the fog. Approaching fast enough, it wasn't long before he could read the damn plates. "Hey!" he shouted. "Hey! Slow down! Slow down!" He waved his arms wildly. The car screeched past. Must be going at least 90, Ethan thought. 90 miles per hour on a narrow, bendy road where the speed limit was 45 and the punishment for error was getting skewered by a tree. Ethan kept shouting until the vehicle was out of sight, his throat was raw, and his hope had been snuffed. He fell to his knees, gaze fixed in the direction the car had gone. It was the same direction that SUV had been headed. Away from town. The wind was clawing at the back of his neck when a new sound came from behind him. Just a thump. Deep, low, far away. It had sounded so faint, he questioned whether he'd actually heard anything. Then it came again. Then a third time. Ethan got to his feet and turned around. He didn't see anything. No headlights, no movement. The sound continued on. A distant thump came every 20 seconds or so. Another vehicle? He wondered. Someone trying to start a failing engine? The thumps were getting louder. Closer, he hoped. Hey! I'm stuck out here. I need help. Is anybody out there? Can anybody hear me?" Ethan kept shouting until his voice was half gone. Then something in his hind brain awakened. Somehow, he could now sense that this road was not a safe place to be, and the thumps just kept getting louder. Eventually, one landed so close that a small alder's naked branches trembled from the impact. And that was it. No more thumping, only the wind's howl. Ethan slumped to his knees and closed his eyes. He found himself feeling strangely relieved. He pulled out his phone and swiped through a few old photos of him and his family. His mother, sisters, his nephew, just about to turn 2, if he remembered right. He hadn't seen any of them in ages. He wasn't sure why he suddenly felt the need to look at them now. Thump. Ethan looked up from his phone. Thump. A chill crawled down his neck when he realized he had once more turned his back to the noise. Thump. He wanted to turn around. He wanted to get one good look at whatever was making that godforsaken sound before running into the trees and out of sight. But something deep inside of him was telling him he shouldn't move. Thump. No. He had to see it. He had to know. The sound was still getting louder. Thump. He put away his phone, took 2 long breaths, got to his feet. Thump. Ethan Baker turned around. 100 yards out, give or take, almost invisible in the fog, was a smooth, curving archway straddling the road. It was huge, Ethan could tell, nearly twice the height of the trees. It looked like a giant boomerang, or like that fucking Gateway Arch monument down in Missouri. He wasn't sure what his next move should be. His mind was in a frenzy just trying to parse what the hell he was looking at. Then he realized the woods had gone silent. There was no birdsong, not even wind. He put his fingers up to his ear and snapped. That confirmed he hadn't gone deaf, but even so, the snap didn't sound right to him. It didn't echo off any trees, didn't reverberate. It sounded like he was in a tiny soundproofed room. His bladder was emptying itself, the warmth of his piss flowing down his pant leg. The archway had no eyes that Ethan could see, yet somehow he knew it was looking at him, and a vague sensation was gnawing. Hunger. Ethan ran. Nothing happened. He was still standing in the same spot. He hadn't moved an inch. He tried again and again until he realized he couldn't move. It wasn't just fear, he was paralyzed. He tried to shout, but his lips didn't part. His heart sank when he realized he could no longer move nor close his eyes. Just to either side of the archway and spreading outward, a dark corrosion snaked about ash and birch, alder and fir, from twig to limb to branch to trunk, downward toward the roots and into the earth. The trees crumbled into a fine gray haze, soon dispersed upon the wind. Something fell from the sky then. No, about 5 somethings, small and dark. Ethan could just about see them in his periphery. Birds. Cries, gasps, then silence. Haze now. Ethan felt a tingling in his toes that slowly became a burn. It spread up his legs, over his abdomen, across his chest, and eventually crawled up his neck. His mouth went dry next. Then the road and the woods and the arch were gone. Ethan was looking at a deserted town, all empty buildings and stalled cars on the road. There were deer, hundreds, dead and rotting someplace cold. Then there were fingers, huge and black, and an eye watching from afar, and a churning red light, and 2 distant figures upon floating shards of yellow land. Some of these images might have been memories. Others Ethan was sure he had never seen before. Now they were all he could see, flashing, contorting, merging, and at last becoming white noise. Then his vision cleared, and he found that nothing had changed, aside from that burning having been replaced with numbness. It was the most pure relief he had ever felt. Amongst the swirling gray dust that had once been a body, a thin white wisp flew off and was lost. Was that my soul? Ethan wondered. The last thing he saw was the archway walking off into the woods. Oh, he finally realized. Those thumps were footsteps. Huh.